You're not broke. You're just missing one switch. Bankrate's latest emergency savings numbers say fewer than half of and about a third would go into debt for it. That's not a motivation problem. That's an automation problem. It loses. Every time. And 2026 is going to punish "I'll start next month" harder than ever. Because everything costs more, subscriptions breed like rabbits, and your brain is exhausted by the time you even open your banking app. So here's the deal. I'm going to walk you through 7 ways to start compounding automated savings in 2026. Without turning into a spreadsheet monk, without living like a robot, and without using the same old trick of transfer money on payday. That's the move everyone tries, and it's why most people quit. While you're busy living, meet Harry. Harry's a pharmacy tech. He's on his feet all day, dealing with insurance rejections, out-of-stock meds, and customers who are already stressed before they reach the counter. He rents a converted basement unit that looks cheaper than it feels. After taxes, he brings home about $3,173 a month. And Harry's problem isn't that he's reckless. It's that his money keeps getting eaten in tiny bites. A little upgrade there, a subscription he forgot, a late fee that feels stupid, and then some random life thing hits like a car battery dying, and the month collapses. Sound familiar? Here's the moment that flipped it for him. He wasn't losing money in big dramatic explosions. He was leaking money in silent drips. And drips don't feel dangerous until you do the math. So Harry ran an experiment. Not a new year, new me fantasy. Make saving automatic, not emotional. Because emotional saving is like trying to hold water in your hands. Automatic saving is like building a pipe. The water keeps flowing. Now, before the 7 ways, you need one rule. Harry wrote this on a sticky note and put it on his fridge. Not at the moment of intention. Intention is when you're calm, inspired, and optimistic. Action is when you're tired, hungry, and one tap away from buying something. Guess which version of you makes decisions most of the time? Exactly. Not motivation. And each one is small. That's the whole point. Small gains compound. Small friction changes compound. Small defaults compound. You don't need a heroic deposit. You need a system that doesn't care how you feel. Let's start. The first way is the laziest, and it's beautiful. Roundups. But not the cute version where you save pennies and hope it becomes magic. Harry did it with rules. He set his debit card roundups to flow into a separate savings pocket, but he also set a cap. Once it hit $19 in a day, it stopped. Why? Not stressful. Roundups didn't just save money. They made him pause. Every purchase came with a tiny echo. And your savings moves too. That little echo changes behavior without lectures. And if you're thinking, can roundups really matter? Because Harry's month 3 is where this gets ridiculous. Short sentence. It adds up. The second way is what I call the cashback capture. Most people treat cashback like free money. Harry treated it like trapped money. Not into spending, not into points, not into "I'll use it later." Because later never comes. They convince you you're winning, while you're still spending. So Harry made one rule. Cashback is not a prize. Cashback is a refund, and refunds go back to your future, without him saving. You're not fighting yourself, you're redirecting leftovers. The third way is the subscription trapdoor. Because it doesn't start with saving, it starts with deleting. A streaming service he barely used, a music plan he forgot, a free trial that wasn't free, and a delivery membership that was basically an impulse tax. He canceled 3. Then he did the important part. But not on payday. He set it to move 2 days after each original subscription would have billed. Why that timing? Because that's when his brain expected to lose money. But it doesn't happen. That gap feels like found money. That feeling is powerful. You can feel it too. How many subscriptions are you paying for right now that you wouldn't miss? Be honest. Where does that money go? If the answer is, it stays in checking, it's gone. Trapdoor fixes that. The fourth way is the bill buffer autopilot. This is the one that made Harry feel safe. He didn't automate savings first. He automated stability. He set all his fixed bills to a dedicated bills pocket inside his bank. And he set the bank to pull those bills automatically from that pocket only. Then, he set one automation rule. Anytime the bill's pocket had more than the next month's bills by at least $113. The extra swept into savings on the next morning. Not payday, not a calendar date, a condition, a trigger. Because most people try to save first, then pay bills. Harry flipped it. Bills first, then sweep the surplus. That way, savings isn't competing with rent. Savings is collecting what survives rent. It starts small, but small isn't the problem. Inconsistent is the problem. The fifth way is the friction lock on impulse spending. And it's sneaky, a digital card for impulse spending only. He named it Later, or $71, and here's the automation. When that card hit the weekly limit, it automatically locked until the next week. No shame, no guilt, locked. The system stopped him without a fight, and every time it locked, something happened. He didn't feel deprived. He felt protected. That's a different emotion. And the money that didn't get spent, it didn't just sit there. It triggered a sweep into savings the next morning. Not payday, a behavior trigger. If your problem is impulse spending, you don't need more discipline. You need more friction. Short sentence, friction wins. Now we're about to hit the best part. But I need you to see why most people fail right here. They try one automation, maybe two, and then they stop because it doesn't feel like enough. They want a dramatic moment, a big deposit, a big milestone. Yeah, but compounding doesn't clap for you in the beginning. It whispers. And if you can't tolerate the whisper, you never reach the roar. Here's where it gets wild. This is the moment that made Harry's system feel unfair, in a good way. And this is your 70% reveal. Harry borrowed a principle from Ramit Sethi's book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. But it hits different when you live it, and you won't need constant self-control. Harry realized he'd been trying to act rich with willpower. But wealthy people don't rely on willpower, they rely on design. So he combined that book principle with a scary reality check. A lot of people still can't. Not because they're lazy, because they didn't build a default. So Harry decided he wasn't going to be the guy who panics over $400. And he tracked one number. So not his net worth, not his investment returns, just his surprise proof. Could he handle a surprise without debt? Month 1, his automated savings stack was only $219. He almost laughed. Then month 2 hit. His car battery died. $317 installed. Old Harry would have put it on a credit card and promised himself he'd pay it off. From the automated savings stack, and his checking account didn't flinch. That moment did something to his brain. He didn't feel rich, he felt in control. And here's the part that made it compound faster. You stop making panic purchases. You stop saying yes to convenience just to relieve stress, which adds more to savings, which reduces stress, which reduces spending. That loop is the real compounding, not just money compounding, behavior compounding. And that's why the default matters. That's why automation matters. That's why 2026 is your year, if you build it right. Now, 6th way, the micro raise escalator. This one is not about waiting for a promotion. $9. That's it, $9. Because big jumps trigger fear. Small jumps sneak past your brain. And after a few months, that tiny escalator becomes real money, without feeling like a sacrifice. Would you notice $9? Probably not. Would you notice $9 every month for a year? You'd notice it in your savings balance. The 7th way is the most underrated one, the calendar anchor automation. Harry didn't tie it to payday, he tied it to his real-life rhythm. Every month, 2 days after rent cleared, his anxiety dropped. Because rent is the big domino. So he set an automation that saw 2 days after rent cleared, moved a small relief deposit into savings. $37. Because you're most likely to save when you feel safe, not when you feel pressured. And you're most likely to spend when you feel stressed. So Harry built his savings trigger on relief, not guilt. Now stack these 7 together and watch what happens. Cashback capture, subscription trapdoor, bill buffer autopilot, friction lock, micro raise escalator, and the rent relief anchor. None of them require Harry to be good. They require him to set them once. That's the whole win. Set it once. Let it run. Now let's talk results, because you need belief, not hype. Over those 90 days, Harry's automated savings stack climbed to $1,169, even after paying for that car battery. And here's the funny part. He didn't feel like he was saving. He felt like he was finally stopping the leaks. That's a different mindset, and you can do this even if you're starting with almost nothing. Because automation doesn't care if it's $10 or $100. It cares that it happens without debate. So what should you do tonight? Not 7 things, 1 thing. Pick the automation that matches your biggest leak. If your leak is impulse spending, set the friction lock. If your leak is forgotten subscriptions, build the trapdoor. If your leak is, I never have anything left, build the bills pocket and sweep surplus. If your leak is mindless tapping, start with roundups, just 1. It becomes proof. And proof is what makes you keep going. Let me ask you something. What would that change for you? Less stress? More options? Fewer arguments? A better sleep? That's not a fantasy. That's a system. And 2026 doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be strategic. Build the pipe. Stop carrying water in your hands. Stacked daily. Become big wins. That's compounding. That's the physics. And that's how you stop hoping and start winning on purpose.